Oh, that's dark. Oh, that is dark. And I need a shave. Anyhow, I'm only going on for a try, and I'm just going to do a reading from my third self-published novel. And I know the light is terrible, but regardless, I'm just going to have a go. It's called yeah, forget it. Saturdays and Ice Vivos. Today is Saturday, the last day of the week. Some would disagree with that, and of course, Christian folk, for example, they would point out and debate the issue until they were blue in the face that Sunday is the last day of the week. Hi, Josh. Hey, Kyle, I'm just reading. And with just cause to their way of thinking. After all, God rested on the seventh day, the Sabbath, following his creation of the heavens and the earth. And I suppose a fair proportion of my generation, the baby boomers, would disagree also if they thought about it. Old habits die hard, you see. As for generations X, Y, and whatever, I don't think they think about it at all. And if they do, they don't care one way or the other. I'm sure the greater majority don't think about it either, if it comes to that, or care one way or the other if they do. Why should they? It's not important. It doesn't matter. And right now, I wish I hadn't mentioned it. I've been good, thank you. Thank you, Josh. Why did I mention it? Well, the general consensus these days, besides no one thinks about it and doesn't care one way or the other, is that that is actually true, and Saturday is indeed the last day of the week. And I, for one, don't mind that concept at all. I like the idea that I end my working week with a day off, and then I have another day off before I begin my new working week next week. That's why. I'm also going to mention that I wasn't sure it was Saturday when I woke earlier. I've just been doing a couple of fabrication jobs, one in particular, but I can't finish it off until today because it is now Saturday, until I get some metal. And I just decided to come on and give this a try again. I had a friend over in the US fiddle around with the computer for a couple of hours. I don't think it's right. I still think after about 10 or 12 minutes, and I got about 10 minutes to go, the sound will play up and the pitch will freeze and whatever. So I just decided to do this reading just to check it out to see what happens. Now, where was I? Fact is, I actually got out of bed and started to dress for work thinking it was Friday. You've been drinking alcohol. What would you want to do that for, Carl? In moderation, I hope. Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much. I'm just reading my third self-published novel, just the beginning of it, because I don't think I'm going to be on for that long, because I've been having trouble with the broadcast, and it breaks down the sound and the picture about after 10 or 12 minutes. So I'm just going to keep on reading. Where was I? I do that sometimes these days. Not often. And just once in a while. I'm not as young as I used to be, you see. So maybe I can be forgiven for that. I think I can also be forgiven too for waking up early on most mornings because of my age. A club of the family seeing live entertainment. Well, that's good, but don't drink too much, Kyle. Or if you do, I hope you've got a dedicated driver. Don't drink if you're intoxicated. I don't drive if you're intoxicated. Anyhow, this is the actual manuscript that for Saturdays and Ice Vavo. See, there it is there. It's one of my shorter stories. It's only about 86,000 words. I don't think, well, that's good, Kyle. That's excellent. I'm 62, and more often than not, I wake at least once in the wee small hours because I need to relieve myself. I know what that's like. Sometimes that need is so overwhelming that I wake in fright because I think I've actually started. It hasn't happened as yet, but it's only a matter of time the way things are going. I'm also given to bouts of forgetfulness. I know all about that too. And just can't for the life of me remember some things. Yeah, even when I'm totally convinced that sometimes tends not to stay in my head, but for the briefest of periods. And I have to convince myself all over again. A good part of some days is spent doing that. Today, Saturday, might even be one of those days. And I know it's Saturday because yesterday was Friday, although I wasn't sure until I checked the television guide. And even then, I wasn't sure until I turned on the television. What happens, you see, is that I forget to turn the page or pages. So what I'm looking at may inform me that it's a Wednesday when it's actually a Friday, or a Tuesday when it's a Thursday, or, well, you get what I mean. When I looked at the program guide this morning, it told me it was Saturday. But just to make sure I turned on the television, and what was on coincided with the listing. That isn't always the case, though, is it? Sometimes the program guide will list a particular show and it won't be televised. That's true. And that's when I can become really confused. I could boot up a computer and take advantage of the very latest updates, but I don't have one of those. And if I did, I'd probably be even more confused. You would be, Bill. You would be. Um, I'm doing all right, thank you. I'm sorry about the picture's not very good because the light's not real good. I thought about buying a computer many, many times, but as quickly as the thought pops in, it pops right out again. So maybe I don't really need one, or I'm just not interested. Perhaps if the thought stayed with me long enough, I might be able to give due consideration. But then I'd probably end up convincing myself I don't really need one, have no real use for one, and I'm just not plain interested. Maybe you think I'm an old fart and losing my mind, but I'm not. You've been drinking too much, Kyle. A bit tired and dizzy. I'd call it a night and go home and go to bed. Hmm. What I mean by I'm not is that I'm not an old fart. Older, yes, but I'm almost convinced I'm losing my mind. What I mean by I'm going over again. See, I'm losing track of it. Fact is, I know I'm losing my mind. My doctor has said so. Alzheimer's, you see, and there's nothing he can do about it. He gave me some information about the disease, but I haven't read it as yet. I will, but only if I can remember where I put it. I can help myself, though, he said, by keeping my mind active, continuing to work, exercise, good nutrition, and if I drink, only do so moderately. And if I smoke, don't. So I do and I don't. What I mean by I do and I don't is this. I've always kept my mind active by working, reading and doing crosswords. Not that I have a particularly interesting job. As a matter of fact, it became rather boring at times. It's also very repetitious. But someone has to do it so that someone might just as well be me. Not a news about people having boring and repetitious jobs. But all my past jobs have been like that. Maybe that's why I'm losing my mind. But I like what I do and it gets me out of the house. It gives my life purpose, you see, in a regular pay packet. Of course. So 5 days a week, well, most weeks, 38 hours a week plus overtime now and then, 48 weeks a year or thereabouts. For the past 25 years, I sit before a hydraulic press that punches out flat plates in all shapes and sizes for a myriad of applications. Like I said, but it's uncomplicated and as easy as 1, 2, 3, 9 minutes, 26 and counting. As soon as I hit 12 minutes or so, I'm going to call it quits, and then I will play the video over. For the past 3 weeks, or maybe it's 2, but then it could be 4, I've been raising the safety cage and removing slightly rectangular plates that will, when formed, cover the grass delivery chute at the rear of lawnmowers at the rate of one every 8 seconds. That's 7.5 a minute, 450 an hour, all but 7.5 hours a day. That's a lot of plates, isn't it? Not to mention a lot of lawnmowers, too. Well, thank you, Dill. Thank you very much. How are you? Sorry, I didn't notice. My dear friend Dill, I hope you are doing okay. It's 1:13 a.m. Saturday morning here. Yes, this is my third self-published novel, Dill. This is the manuscript, Saturdays and Ice Vivos. I'm only going to read for a short while because I don't think the problem has been fixed with the sound breaking up and the picture going funny. Okay, what was I doing? Yeah, a lot of lawn notes. Maybe you think a job like that would drive a man to drink, but I've never been a drinker. Never had a taste for alcohol. I experimented with it when I was young, of course. What kid doesn't? But I just didn't like it. I've always liked being active, though, although I'm not as active these days as I used to be. That happens when you become older. There was a time a long time ago when I worked out with weights an hour and a half, 5 days a week because I wanted a body like Charles Atlas. But try as I did for 2 years, it never happened. I was a little disappointed, as you could well imagine. But I didn't look at it as being time wasted. For it was, I guess, as it is with most people, a phase of life, like fads and manias. I continued to use the weights on and off after that period, mind you, as I do today. But except for that and walking, all other exercise is something other people do. Too much too, to my way of thinking. I sometimes wonder what those who are so fanatical expect to achieve with all that they do these days. If it's breaking down, let me know, please. If they think and expect they will attain longevity and good health far beyond all those who have preceded them in the past, then they're deluding themselves. I know. I've lived long enough to see firsthand that those who have lived to be a ripe old age didn't plan for it. It just happened. It could happen to you. Who knows? Only time will tell. It won't happen to me, but I have a good reason to think that way. I still feel good, though, and what exercise I do makes me feel better, or at least makes me feel better for having done it. And any exercise is better than none at all. That's why I've always walked. Seems to me I've been walking all my life. I may have walked further in my life than I've actually driven. I'll have to think about that. I have. I haven't. It just seems that way because I've walked to work all my working life. Unless it's raining, then I'll drive. I also eat in moderation. Moderation with everything, I reckon. I think that's the key to a happy and healthy life, although there are no guarantees. I also believe you should try to experience all within reason that you possibly can at least once in your life. After all, a life is short, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. My motto. That's why it's in the book. That way you can figure out what you like and what you don't, then you won't be concerned about what you might be missing out on. And treat yourself to something special now and again. I always do, but never overindulge. I would find that easy to do living alone the way I am, but I don't because I know I become lazy and slovenly. So only once in a while will I buy a takeaway meal, occasionally have a sit-down meal in a restaurant. And some Mondays I buy my lunch, but more often than not, I bring my lunch from home and cook all my meals. I've always been handy in and about the kitchen, you see. I wouldn't win any prizes for my cooking, but what I prepare is always wholesome fare. Simple but nutritious. Plenty of fresh vegetables, of course, playing host to whatever might take my fancy on any particular day and night. A small piece of lean steak, oven-baked chicken, grilled fish, a couple of sausages or lamb chops. And when I feel like something simple, I'll have one or two toasted tomato, cheese and onion sandwiches, grilled cheese on toast, or put something together from the leftovers. There's always leftovers. Lots of leftovers. During the warm to hot weather, I usually have a salad with a little cold meat cut from a pre-roasted leg of lamb. You get a lot of meals from a leg of lamb when you live alone. And a lot of sandwiches, too. I get a lot of meals from a lasagna, too, when I have a mind to make one. Hot from the oven, it goes down a real treat with a salad. Then with all that's left over, I've always got a few quick and easy meals for home and work. A couple of minutes in the microwave and Bob's your uncle. I also eat a lot of fresh fruit, too. Not what you might call exotic fruit, though. The likes of custard apple, kiwi fruit, avocado, quince, pawpaw, and others that I can't remember and wouldn't give a second look if I saw them in the supermarket. I've tried them all and then some, of course, but I just didn't like the taste of any of them. I think it must be breaking down. I'm getting a call from my friend Josh. Yo, hey Josh. No, I know. This is some bastard who's bloody paying up every. I won't be answering, and I'll just be cutting it off. If Dill's still there and it's still going, not breaking. Well, thank you, Dill. I had a lot of phone calls the first live broadcast I did, and I think someone's just doing this to be funny. Well, I won't be answering the phone anymore. I'll be going for it, and then I'll just run it through and see what it sounds like. And now I've lost my place because of that phone. Damn annoying. I'll have to get better. All right, yeah, poor and others I can't remember and wouldn't give a second look. They're trying again. Especially, I tried them all and then some, of course, but I just didn't like the taste of any of them. My wife loved pawpaw. The smell of which alone is enough to turn my stomach. Yeah. No, I'm more into the traditional varieties of fruits. Annoying phone. You know, this is where my mobile phone stays. It stays down here in my shed office on this desktop, and I don't know how to turn it off, Josh. Here it goes again. I don't know how to turn it off. And I want to say thank you for watching, and I'll just end the stream and just have a look at this and see what how it went. But I think you'd enjoy the story. It's only 86,000 words. It's not one of my big works, but anyway. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Have a great Easter. I'm sorry I haven't replied to any comments because I had a problem with my Gmail. I got this notification. Anyhow, have a great Easter. Take care, and bye for now.